Hey, are you struggling to figure out where to start in renting out your RV? Whether it's a side hustle, it's just something you want to do to earn some extra income or get started as a business. That's one of the common things. Where do I start? So here's 3 tips to help you get started renting your RV. My name's Raul, and we own an RV rental business in Fort Worth, Texas called DFW Outdoor Rentals. I'm also helping people get started in renting their RV. We do some things like we offer our documents that we use in our business, have a private Facebook group and other things like that for a small fee. Check that link in the bio. But let's get started. Number one thing is, where do you get started? I'm going to say that the easiest way to get started is by using one of the platforms. And by platform, I mean one of the peer-to-peer sites, and that would be RVshare and Outdoorsy. And those two specifically are where I would recommend that you get started. Those seem to have the biggest market share of the RV rental space. So they are typically going to bring in more of your rentals. So get started on there. The listing process is pretty, each of those sites do a pretty good job of showing you how to list your RV and what you need to do. So start there. The biggest thing also is that they offer insurance. The insurance is something that the renter is going to pay for when they book the RV. So your RV, camper, Class C, whatever it may be, will be covered through these platforms, Outdoorsy, RVshare, when the renter purchases the insurance. And you can make it a requirement for them. I think it has to be purchased either way. So that's the easiest way to get started. Get going on there, get listed, start trying to get a couple rentals and get familiar with the process. I think it's a good opportunity to get familiar with the process, and then help you decide if you want to continue paying them 20 to 25%, because that's going to be their commission rate on there. You're going to have to give them 20 to 25% of all fees when renting through those platforms. And it's not a bad deal because they're doing the marketing, they're bringing you customers, they're handling the rental, you're using their interface to handle the rental. So that's what you're paying them for. That's the commission. So some people get upset about the commission, but they are bringing you customers, you're using their site to handle the customers, they're providing the contract, they're doing all this stuff. So it's really not a bad deal. So go check that out, get listed on there, become familiar with the process, and decide if you want to take it to the next step, which would be renting direct, as we call them, direct rentals to customers via a website and stuff like that. So that's number one. Number 2, have a training program. And what that looks like is getting together a checklist of everything that renter needs to know, whether they're experienced or not. But you need to treat it as if they're not experienced, as if everyone that's going to rent this is going to be their first time using a camper. Take your RV camping and document all the steps you're doing from the time you get there and park it in the space all the way till you're done setting up, and make a checklist out of that you're going to print out or use in some way when a renter picks up your RV. Listen, things happen, and the thing that you want to do is mitigate the risk all that you can. People get upset when their RVs get damaged. And like, well, this renter damaged our awning. They messed it up. Did you even mention the awning during training when you went over things? No, that's your responsibility, right? Your renter's only going to be as successful as you set them up to be, and that's by training and getting them familiar with everything. Even if they say they're experienced, you're going to go through this. So get a checklist together. Again, we offer our documents. We have a checklist, a training checklist in our document package that we have, which also comes with a coaching call and other documents, manuals and stuff like that in the bio. But at the very least, get your own checklist together and go over it every time with renters, despite of how experienced they are. All right, number 3, this is a big one. Maintenance, making sure that your RV is ready for the road, ready to be used in every way that imaginable. Okay, there's always going to be stuff that pops up. These things are rumbling down the road, screws here and there, things come loose and everything, but you need to make sure that you're up to date on maintenance. And that, to me, that always starts at one specific place, and that's wheels, tires, axles, right? So make sure. We do not like to use tires that are more than 4 years old. Okay, so once they hit 4 years old, they need to be replaced regardless of condition. The only time we've ever had blowouts or flats is on tires that are 4 years old or older. All right, so that we go ahead and change tires. Bearings, making sure that they're recently repacked with grease. Okay, this is something that you need to know how to do either way, but you can take it to a shop. That's a whole different story about doing your own maintenance versus taking it to a shop. But those things, it starts there with the axles, the tires, and to me, you got to get good tires that are an appropriate age, and make sure that your bearings are packed with grease, fresh grease. Okay, everything else that comes along with it. I mean, we're talking about smoke alarms, fire extinguishers, carbon monoxide monitors, testing those, making sure that if there's anything that expires, that it's up to date. Again, I have a checklist, a pre and post trip checklist that I go through that pretty much goes from the undercarriage to the roof, and I just check these things off. And oh, the other thing about the wheels and tires is torque settings, making sure that the lug nuts are torqued correctly. You'd be surprised how many lug nuts are not torqued correctly. You'd be surprised how many tires are not filled up properly to the proper air pressure. Again, checking the water fixtures, making sure the toilet is running, making sure the AC works. These are critical items that if they fell out while on a trip, then and you didn't inspect them, number one, you're not going to know if it was working properly when the renter took it. But number two, I mean, it's going to wind up costing you probably that whole rental fee that you just earned to get it back into operation. So check those things, keep up to date. That's very important. Those are 3 tips to get you started in RV rentals. There's a lot more to consider. Follow us for more, subscribe, and come along for the ride. Talk to y'all later.